Good evening. I'd like to call to order the November 9th, 2023 regular meeting of the Naperville Park District Board of Commissioners. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Bridget, can we get a roll call, please?
President Gibson?
Here.
Vice President Ruffing?
Here.
Commissioner Ansier?
Here.
Commissioner Jacks?
Here.
Commissioner Janner?
Here.
Commissioner Risvold?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
All right. Thank you. I would like to entertain a motion to open the Truth in Taxation public hearing on the district's proposed 2023 property tax levy.
Move to open the public hearing for discussion on the 2023 property tax levy. Second.
Could I get a roll call, please?
Vice President Ruffing?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier?
Yes.
Commissioner Jacks?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Risvold?
Yes.
President Gibson?
Yes. Okay. A quorum being present, I will now call to order the public hearing on the 2023 property tax levy. A notice of this Truth in Taxation hearing was published in the Daily Herald on November 1st, 2023, in accordance with the requirements of the Property Tax Code, and a notice in compliance with Open Meetings Act was also prepared and distributed in accordance with all legal requirements. Property tax revenues represent the largest revenue source for the district and funds about 56% of the district's budget. This year, the district is proposing a levy totaling $27,296,132, which is a 6% increase over last year's extension. The district's tax levy request will increase to account for inflationary pressures on the cost of operating the district. The CPI percent applicable to this year's tax levy under PTEL is 5%, and the balance is necessary to account for new construction. If the estimated new construction does not materialize, the DuPage and Will County clerks will automatically reduce the levy to the appropriate level. The purpose of the hearing is to give the public an opportunity to be heard with regard to the planned 2023 property tax levy request. Once public comments have been received, the board may immediately comment or reserve its comments to when the ordinance is formally presented for board consideration. The hearing is now open to questions and comments from the audience. Bridget, do we have any members of the public?
We do not.
All right. I would entertain a motion to close the Truth in Taxation public hearing on the 2023 tax levy and return to the regular business of the meeting.
Move to close the public hearing and return to the regular meeting. Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Ruffing?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier?
Yes.
Commissioner Jacks?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Risvold?
Yep.
President Gibson?
Yes. All right. Thank you all. We'll return to our regular meeting. Are there any matters from the public for the regular meeting?
There are none.
All right. Thank you. On to updates and reports for the Riverwalk Commission. Yesterday was a brief meeting, so I'll just report that the next Riverwalk Commission meeting will be December 13th at 7:30 a.m. at the Naperville Employee University Room in the basement of the Municipal Center. Is there any updates from the Finance Committee?
No report.
All right. Legislative Committee?
No report.
Parks and Rec Committee?
No report.
All right. Next up is the President's Report. Just a few things to touch on tonight. First, I'd like to urge everybody to take some time over the next few days to visit the replica of the Vietnam Wall of Remembrance now through Monday at the Riverwalk Grand Pavilion. Executive Director Wilson will be providing more information, but in the meantime, it's a very moving display, and it does a great job of honoring our country's veterans. So it'd be nice if everybody took some time this weekend to check that out. Also tonight is Bridget Tuff's last meeting. She served as the district's executive administrative assistant and our board secretary, and we are all going to miss her a lot, and we're really grateful for all of her service to the community, and all of us. We're an unruly bunch sometimes, so we appreciate everything. We'd like to welcome Monica Solamacha to the district. Monica is going to be serving as our new executive administrative assistant, and tonight, after our consent agenda, our board secretary. We're all looking forward to working with you, Monica, so welcome. Thank you. And finally, this is our last meeting before Thanksgiving. So on behalf of the board, I'd like to express our heartfelt gratitude to all the staff at the Naperville Park District. They all work hard all year long to promote healthy lives, healthy minds, healthy communities. And it's their passion and dedication that make our parks the greatest in the country, as you know, recent surveys this year have shown us time and again. So thank you to all of you for everything you do for our community. And thank you to the members of our community. It's the people here that really make this one of the greatest places to live, you know, after the wonderful parks. So thank you all. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving to everybody. And see you next month. So that is the president's report. Next up, we have Executive Director Wilson's report.
Thank you, President Gibson. As you mentioned, we have a replica of the Vietnam Wall of Remembrance that is on display now through Monday, November 13th, near the Riverwalk Grand Pavilion, just west of Centennial Beach. This year commemorates the 50th anniversary of the departure of the last U.S. combat troops from South Vietnam in 1973. Naperville Park District is partnering with the Judd Kendall VFW Post 3873, Naperville American Legion Post 43, and Naperville Responds for Veterans to host this event. The annual Veterans Day ceremony will be held at the Vietnam Wall on Saturday, November 11th at 11 a.m. For additional details, we have a website on our webpage, napervilleparks.org/Vietnam Wall of Remembrance. And I attended the opening ceremony this morning, which was very moving, very well attended. And just want to say that, you know, our parks trades team, Naperville Response for Veterans, really did an outstanding job preparing the grounds and putting the wall together. It is a very moving display. I would invite you to visit the wall at night. It's illuminated and something to see in the evening as well. And also want to thank our marketing team, did quite a bit of work getting the message out there. And I know that we've had a lot of media coverage of the wall already. So thank you. A few other updates. We have the holiday season that is almost upon us, and the Naperville Park District is providing a few different ways to get into the holiday spirit and support our community. More information regarding each of these opportunities can be found on the Naperville Park District website. Once again, we're hosting the Pennies for Pies donation collection between now and November 17th. We are encouraging donations of any amount, including small change, to help provide pumpkin pies for Thanksgiving meals distributed by Loaves and Fishes Community Services. Donations can be made at several Park District facilities or donate online at napervilleparks.org. The annual Toys for Tots collection is also underway. Park Police are collecting new, unwrapped toys to brighten the holidays for children in need. Those interested in participating may drop off toys at several different Park District facilities between now and December 16th. The YMCA and the Naperville Park District, through the support of donations from the community, will continue an annual Naperville tradition of providing seniors and families in need with a meal on Christmas. In 2022, nearly 500 meals were delivered on the morning of Christmas Eve to seniors and families throughout the community. We anticipate the need for meals to be just as great in 2023 when volunteers once again deliver meals to homes. The Community Christmas Meal Program is funded entirely through donations received from the community, and you're also able to give towards that initiative on the Park District website at napervilleparks.org. And then finally, looking ahead to Giving Tuesday, which is November 28th, the Park District invites donations made to our Fee Assistance Program to help provide free recreation programs to Naperville residents experiencing financial need. Learn more and donate at napervilleparks.org/Fee Assistance Program. Registration is underway for the Santa's Naperville Workshop. Santa Claus is coming to town later this month with the return of Santa's Naperville Workshop, presented by Woody Buick GMC and supported by other community sponsors. Families and children will be able to visit with Santa in his workshop and take their own pictures in this unique and charming setting. Please note that pre-registration is required, which is currently underway. Santa's Workshop runs from November 27th through December 21st. And then finally, the Digital Winter 2024 Program Guide will be released on Wednesday, November 29th, in preparation for the winter registration season that begins on Monday, December 4th. Please note that the winter season will include registration for spring, Naperville Youth Soccer, and Naperville Premier Soccer programs. Registration for winter Naperville Youth Basketball and winter break camps is already in progress. Additional information on our events and facilities and other Naperville Park District news can be found online at napervilleparks.org. And lastly, I also want to just say thank you to Bridget for all of your work with staff, with the district over the past several years.
Pleasure.
You will be missed. And we do welcome Monica. We look forward to working with you in your new role. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Executive Director Wilson. Next up, we have the 2024 budget presentation.
Did you get his report from Sam? Okay. I just cut and paste and dropped that in.
Okay, this evening, we would like to provide the board and the public with an overview of the proposed 2024 budget. This is an annual presentation that we like to provide and hit some of the highlights of the 2024 budget, look back at a little bit of 2023, and be able to move forward with then presenting the budget for the board's consideration in December for approval. So tonight, we're going to go through a few slides. The first is when we put together the budget, staff always looks at the budget guides. What is guiding the development of this budget? Certainly, we look at plans like our master plan, the strategic plan, but also these guides of ensuring that we're maintaining the district's financial standing, which includes maintaining that AAA bond rating that the district has had for many years. Continuing to take care of our assets. When we look at especially the capital plan for 2024, much of what is proposed in the 2024 budget maintains what we have within our parks and available to the community. But it also means taking care of who we have, the staff that we have, the recruitment, the retention, which has been critical to maintaining the overall operations of the district. We always keep in mind maintaining the affordability of the programs and services that we provide to the community. It's a key focus that we look at annually as we're putting together the budget and determining what those prices are going to be for the different services that we provide. Championing innovation. This is continuous for us, something that especially as it's become difficult to get all of the hands that we need to be able to complete the work that we do out in the parks and at our facilities, finding different innovative ways to be able to complete that maintenance, as well as the way in which we look at developing parks, having park design, facility design, and consistently looking to improve the efficiency of our operations. And then for next year, 2024, preparing to address what the possible indoor recreation space needs assessment is going to provide to us. This is a major undertaking for the district next year, one of the major strategic initiatives for 2024, where we're going to bring in an outside consulting team to assist the district in really evaluating our overall use of current facilities, where those gaps are at, what the greatest community needs are, and getting a better understanding as to the community's willingness to support financially moving forward with any type of new indoor recreation space. As we look at 2023, this was really a historic year for the district. As you can see up there, we have never served more people than what we did in 2023. Our four major areas, when you look at recreation programs, the Fort Hill Activity Center, golf operations, as well as Centennial Beach, all had outstanding years. We are projected right now to end the year with over 64,000 program participants, which is the highest that we've recorded, dating back even past 2020 or 2002, over 20 years ago, when we had 62,000 participants. And that was during a time when the Park District used to actually have hold all of the high school camps that were held through Naperville North High School as well as Naperville Central High School, which at the time accounted for about 10,000 participants. Those are now run directly through the school districts. So when you take that into consideration, it's even a greater level of increase that we've seen in that time. Nearly 45,000 rounds at Naperbrook Golf Course. That is the highest level of rounds that the facility has recorded. And in speaking with Director Carlson, if the weather remains, we may actually get closer to 46,000 rounds by the end of the year. Fort Hill Fitness Center, over 7,000 memberships at the facility. That's the highest since opening the facility in 2016. And then lastly, Centennial Beach. Centennial Beach memberships, almost 8,500 memberships this year, which is the highest since 2013. So across the board, again, all of our programs and services, achieving levels that the district has not seen before. And we continue to see that the district is being held in high regard in the community. In 2022, the community survey conducted by the Park District had a very high esteem rating. The city of Naperville just completed a community survey as well. And in one of the summaries provided in the survey, Naperville Park District actually ranked second out of over 300 communities that they benchmark against with the recreation programs that we provide. So very high satisfaction levels within the community.
Okay, I have the mic. Back one, sorry. Okay, so what does our budget look like to support all the things that Brad just mentioned? We have a total budget, capital and operating of about $51.5 million. Breaking it down to our operating budget, rounding up about $34 million, and our capital budget is $14.5 million. As we talk about all the time, we have two main revenue sources, property taxes and program fees. When we'll talk about as we're putting our budget together, and what we look at is there's always a balance between those two revenue sources of maintaining affordability, as Brad had mentioned, but also when needed, accounting for higher costs to put those programs on. Okay, so let's start with our main source, property tax. Property tax in total funds about 56% of the district's budget. That's capital and operating. Overall, on a Naperville resident tax bill, the Park District represents about 5%, and that's consistent with what we have seen in the past. So a small amount of the tax bill. On average, what we've proposed in the budget is an average homeowner in Naperville will pay about $423 to the district, which is about a $19 increase. I know we're getting really specific with numbers. Keep in mind, these are just estimates, but it's our best way to gauge what an average homeowner would be. It really varies by each assessment for each homeowner, what their increase or decrease would be. Overall, that would mean we're proposing about a 4.6% increase that is built into the budget here in the property tax levy. Specifically looking at our special recreation levy, which we know is outside of the cap, we are proposing a 2.76 levy for that line item, and that accomplishes 2 cents for us to participate in the Western DuPage Special Recreation Association, and that's for inclusion services. Additional 0.76 cents represents an amount for capital for ADA-related improvements. So when we're talking about the renovation to all of our parks, a piece of that renovation is funded through this levy line item that makes it ADA compliant. And that's what that capital piece is for. And I will mention here the challenge that we have, and probably every other taxing district or every other business even that we're facing, is the rising costs of what we're seeing, 5 to 30%, both with commodities and supplies, and as you've all heard about, capital over time. So the 4.6% increase in our largest revenue source, and we're trying to absorb and fit in increasing costs of 5 to 30%, literally across all departments of things that we're doing. Heading back to the WESDR levy, and we talk about a message, and we do it, it's highlighted there, is that we're asking for what we need to operate this district, providing the same level of service, even better services, and keeping the same level of quality that we have, that we ask for what we need. And I'll touch on the WESDR levy. So we can levy up to 4 cents with that levy. We're only asking for 2.76 because it's what we need to accomplish the capital and operations in the budget for -- there's another piece, and we've talked about our annual, as you know, we have debt service payments. We have the ability to do a supplemental levy and ask for more through the levy. That's around $111,000. We are not proposing that. We are proposing paying that out of capital funds on hand. The third piece I'd like to just mention is and we're going to have a presentation on debt later, but our ability to borrow and issue debt, we currently do have room to be able to do that. It's not large yet. We have a plan in the future that will allow us to borrow more depending what happens with the indoor space needs analysis. But we could, and we're not proposing doing that for this budget either. We're just asking for what we need.
The other main revenue source that we've talked about is program fees, charges for services through the district. And what you see up on the screen right now are four main program and facility areas and what's anticipated for 2024. With Centennial Beach, what we are proposing within the budget are slight increases in our daily admission and season membership fees. Really what that equates to is $1 a day for the daily memberships, and then a 5% increase on memberships, which equates to about a $2 to $3 increase for a resident during the early bird portion of the beach membership sales. We'll continue to prioritize, obviously, with the facility, our safety of our patrons, and really that moves into the training and the overall recruitment and the retention of our lifeguard staff. We're coming off of a very good year in 2023 with the number of lifeguards that we were able to recruit, some of the highest numbers of lifeguards that we've had in a number of years. We are very hopeful that a number of those guards will come back, but we're going to continue to push those recruiting efforts very hard as we go into 2024. And providing just overall quality experiences for those who come to Centennial Beach. With Fort Hill, we're proposing that membership fees for the facility would remain stable, to remain affordable. When we are with any of our programs and with our facilities, we're looking at a number of things when we're setting those fees. One being the operating costs associated with that facility or with the program, as well as what some of the other similar programs might be out in the community in order to provide competitive rates, affordable rates for the community to be able to participate in those recreation activities. We'll have a focus on maintaining our membership base and managing the increased participation that we're seeing in our fitness, our group exercise classes, as well as our open gyms. And then looking at Fort Hill and just the overall scheduling operations will be a big part of the indoor assessment next year to see if there are opportunities to increase efficiencies, work to even further address some of the wait lists that we're seeing for some of those programs that are in high demand. Our programs will continue managing increased participation in programs. We are starting to see program participation level out a bit from what we saw coming out of the pandemic. However, for instance, with our day camps this past summer, we had over 400 more day camp participants this year, the highest level of day camp participants that we've seen. So with that, there's additional stresses that come up as far as having enough staff, the resources available to be able to accommodate all of the kids within the program. So we'll continue to work on that. Our fee increases within programs, we do have some areas that will see some slight fee increases. Many of those will equate to about $1 per class or day. However, we do have some other situations just based on costs associated with operating those classes, with minimum wage pressures, as well as compression that we're seeing as we have returning staff that we also need to move up incrementally. And then overall program costs. If we're working with contractors, if it's a program that involves transportation, maybe going to another destination, all of those costs have continued to rise. And so we then look at opportunities to increase our program fees to make sure that we're covering those costs. And then increased promotion of the fee assistance program is something that we will have a focus on in 2024. We have seen increased participation this year, the highest levels of participation recorded. However, we've seen a slight decline in the overall participation within the fee assistance program. So we intend to work more with the schools, with some other areas to really push out that message that this is available to the community, what we have here at the Park District, that we have fee assistance and be able to get those families that help. And then with golf, we're looking forward to a full year of operation at both of our courses. The fee increases that are planned within the proposed budget are associated with carts, where we are projecting or proposing a $1 per person fee increase for carts. Greens fees would remain the same. However, season memberships would increase for those who purchase a season membership at the courses. Those would go up about 7%. And then next year, major project at the Naperbrook Golf Course, again, taking care of what we have. The irrigation system, which is over 34 years old, needs to be replaced, and that is a major undertaking next year built into our capital budget. So that will move forward. The project will allow the course to remain open while that work is taking place, and Director Carlson and his staff will be able to work with golfers in communicating that. And then we're also looking forward to the opening of the Marie Todd practice facility at Naperbrook next year.
Taking into consideration a longer-term look, where have we been for capital? Over the last 10 years, we've invested $130 million in capital, maintaining our system and also adding new amenities. Looking forward 10 years, this has been pretty consistent also. We're 80+ million that we have to look out to fund. That debt piece that we'll be talking about long-term when we add anything large and new will be really important. The $80 million is pretty much the next 10 years taking care of what we have. There's not any large new initiative built into that number. The largest funding source for our capital plan, and it's the most consistent funding source, is the amount of the property tax that's allocated to there each year. So it's very, very important. Property tax not only supports operations, but also the largest piece of funding for keeping our assets up to date and maintaining our system, and then providing new amenities. As I mentioned before, our capital budget's $14.5 million. Brad had mentioned the irrigation project. I'll just highlight another one, an improvement that we are also very appreciative of a community partner. And that's the Knock Park Maintenance Memorial Field number 5. We're doing drainage improvements there. There's fence improvements there, and also a new synthetic turf infield. We're partnering with Naperville Little League, who are helping us to fund the turf at that field. And we know from experience, they partnered with us this year to do DuPage number 5 at DuPage Park infield, and that project is going very well. So we have a lot to plan for. It's why we do annual budgets, but then we do 3-year plans, and it's why we look out 10 years to make sure, and we've been doing this 10-year plan for a while, Eric and his team, and with the board's involvement, making sure that on a long-term basis that we can keep the quality that we have right now and keep adding new and innovative things. So this, oops, let me get to it. Okay, so you've seen this before in a different format. And we just love this because now we have pictures, and it just helps illustrate, maybe more so than bullets across the page, of really how much we have to take care of and what we're providing. It's amazing to me when you look at the top right, and it's, the 7,500 classes and programs, but all of the other things, the trails, the parks, there's really something that we have here for everyone that our levy supports and that our program fees support, providing all of these things. So just a different look for what we've shown before. This will grow. We're up to 138 parks this year. That has changed recently by 2. We were reporting 136 parks. So it's just a lot. And we all work to make this happen, and it's pretty cool.
A number of years ago, in working with the board, we also began really recognizing some of the social issues that the Park District is able to help alleviate within the community. Certainly, our mission is there. We provide a number of parks, programs, but what else does that help to do, and what else is the Park District doing? And this is just an example, a chart that we like to share with the board and share with the community about some of those different problems that we're working to be able to address. Such as the limited access to recreation for people with special needs. Certainly our work with WDSRA, other groups within the community is very important, and Sue talked about the special recreation tax levy that's part of what's within the proposed budget. What we do as far as working with low-income families, teens, providing leadership experiences. We are one of the, if not the largest employer in the community of youth, oftentimes coming to the Park District to complete their first job. And so that's important for us as far as our role in the community and giving those youth the experiences to be able to enter the workforce and so on. The 2024 goals and what's up on the slides is a condensed version of what is included within the budget book. But these will be a main focus for the district next year. We talked a little bit about completing the indoor needs assessment, extremely important for the district. Will really set the path forward as far as how we move forward with addressing indoor space needs and future amenities. And again, gauging the community's willingness to support financially should the district move forward with more indoor recreation space. Investing in attracting and retaining staff continues to be a main focus. Director Seppi and Director Luthman continue to actually present on this topic nationally to another number of other communities that are interested in all the things that we have done as an organization, leading the way in recruiting and retaining the staff that we have here in Naperville. Working with community and regional partners to promote a career path. This is really increasing overall participation in events, working closely with colleges within the area. This is the introduction of the Careers Grow Here initiative, which I'll speak to in just a moment, but a number of different ways to increase the overall promotion of having a career within Parks and Recreation. I spoke a little bit earlier about leveraging innovation, something that we're going to continue to do, increasing the overall use of the autonomous mowers, which worked out very well this past year, but looking at other ways to improve efficiencies, such as the park design, evaluating our overall maintenance practices, especially around pond maintenance next year, and then reducing our equipment downtime by looking at different ways to track inventory for especially the repair and replacement parts. Big goal for next year will be the execution of the goals and objectives in the strategic and the master plan, a number of different goals and objectives within each of those plans. And we will provide updates to the board and to the community semi-annually on the status of the strategic plan goals, and then annually on our master plan guides that we work from. Implementation of a new human resources payroll system. We are a very large employer, over 800 part-time staff, over 100 full-time staff that work for the district. And this is one of the backbone softwares that we utilize beyond our registration software, which the district relies upon very heavily. So Director Seppi and a number of different departments will be working on this initiative. Completing the decennial committee meetings and submitting the report on local government efficiency to each of the counties. That will be another goal for next year, to complete that by our November deadline to do that. Implementation of the body-worn camera program. This is for our park police. State law requires that by January 1st of 2025 that program is fully implemented. And then celebrating two big anniversaries. Our Knock Knolls Nature Center will celebrate its 10th anniversary next year. And then Springbrook Golf Course will celebrate its 50th anniversary next year. So we'll have some different events and programs around that. The Careers Grow Here, when we talk about staffing and retention, is a brand that our marketing team and HR departments worked on to create this year, really highlighting just that Parks and Recreation, what we have here at the Park District, goes well beyond just those parks and rec jobs. There are a number of different careers within the district that individuals can join the district and participate in. So it's really highlighting that overall area and just increasing the overall recruitment for positions. We will continue to leverage recruiting initiatives and opportunities as we've been doing with various incentives. Completing a compensation study next year for full-time staff. That was completed in 2023 for our part-time staff. I spoke a little bit about the human capital management system that we'll be implementing. And then we have proposed within the budget 4 new positions really in our frontline service areas of custodial trades and then special events areas. We continue to have recruitment challenges in several of those areas with our part-time staff positions. In fact, we've had several part-time staff positions within custodial, within trades, within our parks divisions that have remained unfilled. So taking some of those part-time dollars and money that we've had to use towards contractual services and putting them towards full-time positions to be able to increase the overall number of hands that we have to do the work. And what we're also seeing is just with the increased participation and use of facilities, these are areas where we really need to bring in some additional staff to do that.
Okay, just to hit a little bit more on some of our capital projects, you'll see under playground renovations, those are the 8 that we have scheduled. That's a little bit more. In a typical year, we have 5 to 6 that are scheduled. So while we have plans for a renovation schedule, we also inspect all of our parks frequently. And if things come up and it's time to do early renovations, or sometimes we can wait a couple of years and do them later, it is evaluated. And based on this, we're proposing in the budget 8 playground renovations. Overall, for our capital plan, we're at about 140 projects for the year. So everyone involved in that, Eric's team for all of the planning, and then, all the maintenance and back end, they're going to be busy again another year. Every year we think it's going to slow down, and every year we think, oh, it's going to lighten up, and every year it's not. It's becoming a norm now to have a workload like that. A couple of the other things to highlight, what you're aware of, is the Ron Ori Community Garden Plot site improvements. That's going to include taking a gravel lot, making it ADA compliant with pavers, and also raised garden beds and drainage improvements for our garden plots. We talked about the irrigation system at Naperbrook and also the Marie Todd practice facility. And lastly, we'll be finishing up at Knock Knolls. If you recall, we had a very generous donation for the pavilion there from the Frank J. Rust Trust. So once that pavilion is up, that pavilion will be used a lot for educational programs. It'll be used for recreation, and it'll be used just for drop-in for the public to use for picnics and things like that for that facility. And with that,
So in conclusion, the proposed budget that we've presented really was developed with the same principles that built the positive financial position that the district is in today. It supports maintaining that highest bond rating, the AAA bond rating that the district, again, has had for many years and is so important to maintain. Continues taking care of what we have and who we have, a major focus on continuing to do that. It works to maintain the affordability and the quality of our programs and services. While there are some fee increases that are proposed, again, we've done that in a way to make sure that we are working to keep our programs and services affordable to the community. And it prepares the district to respond to the feedback that we are looking forward to receiving from the community this year as we embark on the indoor recreation space needs assessment. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to the board for any questions.
Thank you. Do I need a motion before we discuss, Dirk, or can we discuss? Okay. It's easier to do it first? Okay. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve Resolution 23-11, establishing estimate of funds to be raised by taxation for the 2023 levy year.
Second.
All right, discussion? Does anybody have any comments, questions on the budget presentation? What's that? Oh, the roll call before? Don't we discuss before the roll call? Well, no, there's just, she's asking for discussion. And then we'll. Okay. All right, who'd like to kick off questions, comments?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank staff. This is obviously a monumental undertaking, and I know all of us commissioners take tax dollars and the stewardship over the tax dollars very seriously. And when you take an overall look at a budget like this, I think the first thing you look at is participation levels. Are we? And you look at other government entities in our community, and you say, okay, are we going up or are we going down? There's definitely some other entities in our area that are going backwards in terms of number of participation, students, so on and so forth. And obviously, as presented here tonight, you can see that Park District programming and Park District participation is going up in almost every category, from camps to fitness memberships to golf. So I think that's important to note. And then on the expense side, I think some red flags that you would look for in a budget. Number one, are there massive consulting jobs in there that could potentially be cut out? Are there massive equipment purchases that may not be necessary? Are there massive new salaries or or pay increases that are proposed. And you know, we see none of that in this budget, except for on a very small scale. Most of it is just is funding operations. And you know, if there's anywhere to point the finger, it would probably be at the state or federal level that's causing all the inflation and everything that we see. Because as was pointed out, all of our expenses are going up from 5 to 30%, and that's very much accurate and consistent as was presented with what other businesses and agencies are seeing. So in order to maintain the same level of service that, as Dirk always says, Naperville is a community of high standards, and he's always right on target when he says that. In order to maintain the same level of service with all these expenses going up, we have to, you know, take a hard look at this. So I intend to support the budget as is. And again, I appreciate all the thought and effort that went into putting it together.
Are there any other questions or comments? I think that was really well put, Commissioner Janner. I'd also like to echo, I know a ton of work has gone into putting not just the presentation tonight, but this whole very comprehensive document, the district, the AAA bond rating, and, you know, we're continually getting awards. I had to look up the awarded Certificate of Excellence for its annual comprehensive financial report. I think the district does a lot with the funds and the budget and the finances we have, and it provides a lot for our community. And as Executive Director Wilson mentioned tonight, our community definitely sees the value in it. We're continually ranked some of the highest in the nation. So that's because of all the work you all put in. So thank you. I agree. I will also be supporting the budget. So there are no other questions or comments. We'll take a roll call. Everybody all right with that? All right, roll call, please.
Vice President Ruffing?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier?
Yes.
Commissioner Jacks?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Risvold?
Yes.
President Gibson?
Yes. All right, thank you. Next, we will move on to the consent agenda. Oh, no, sorry, skipping one. Treasurer's report.
Move to approve the September 2023 Treasurer's Report.
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Vice President Ruffing?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier?
Yes.
Commissioner Jacks?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Risvold?
Yes.
President Gibson?
Yes. All right. Now, Bridget, would you mind reading the consent agenda, please? Sure.
Item 8.1, approve October 2023 disbursements in the amount of $286,399.94. 8.2, approve October 2023 disbursements made through the Bank of America Purchasing Card Program in the amount of $306,537.33. 8.3, approve October 2023 FinTech disbursements in the amount of $1,530.80. 8.4, approve October 2023 customer refunds in the amount of $3,572.23. 8.5, approve October 26, 2023 regular board meeting minutes. 8.6, approve the designations of Brad Wilson as delegate, Mary Gibson as first alternate, and Katie Seppi as second alternate for the 2024 Illinois Association of Park Districts Annual Business Meeting. 8.7, approve an order of 60 desktop computers with IT Savvy in the amount of $42,396.60. 8.8, approve the 2024 annual golf and parks tree trimming, tree removal bid to Steve Piper and Sons, Inc. in the amount of $77,225. 8.9, accept the base bid of M&M Peters Construction, Inc. in the total amount of $34,989 as the lowest responsive and responsible bid for the Frontier Sports Complex dugout shelter installation project, and to authorize staff to carry a further 5% contingency for a total authorized expenditure for the project in an amount not to exceed $36,738. 8.10, approve ordinance 1045, authorizing addendum number 7 to that commercial lease for 2244 West 95th Street, Naperville, Illinois, approved by ordinance 789. 8.11, approve ordinance 1046, authorize addendum number 1 to the sublease agreement with Jilin Association for 1163 East Ogden Avenue, Naperville, Illinois, approved by ordinance 950. 8.12, appoint Monica Solomacha as board secretary.
Right, I would like, or I guess, are there any items to be removed? I'd like to pull 8.10. Anybody else? No? All right.
Move to accept consent agenda items 8.1 through 8.9 and 8.11 through 8.12.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Ruffing?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Jacks?
Yes.
Commissioner Risvold?
Yes.
President Gibson?
Yes.
Move to approve consent agenda items 8.1 through 8.9 and 8.11 through 8.12.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, unfinished business. 8.10, approve ordinance 1045.
Yes, President Gibson, I had asked for this item to be pulled and considered separately to advise the board that after the board packet had been put together and the agenda was set, we heard from the property owner earlier this week that he wanted to make a revision to the ordinance and the amendment to the lease, and that is the removal of the 2 one-year options to renew. So that it would just be the removal of the options to renew for 2025 and 2026. They would like to work with us next year and consider at that time whether there would be a lease extension for 2025 or beyond. So we will just simply remove that from the ordinance.
Okay. Thank you, Executive Director Wilson. Any questions or comments on that? No? Okay.
Do I need-
Do we,
Move,
yeah, go ahead.
move to approve consent agenda item 8.10. Do I have to do accept and approve for this? Okay. Move to approve consent agenda item 8.10.
Second.
All right, and voice vote? All in, voice vote, correct? That's a roll call? No worries. All right, roll call. All right, roll call, please.
Vice President Ruffing?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier?
Yes.
Commissioner Jacks?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Risvold?
Yes.
President Gibson?
Yes. All right, thank you. On to new business. We will start with 2024 debt overview.
So what I do is I'll fill in all this.
Okay, so Eric Anderson, who all of you or most of you have seen and heard, is here to give us an overview of our debt portfolio and a little bit of education. I will let him jump in, and then I'll have a few closing words once Eric is done. As I had said before, I'm going to steal your thunder. This will be Eric's last presentation with us as he is retiring, and take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue. About 20 years ago, a little over 20 years ago, the district's administration and board of commissioners was generous enough to hire me and my firm to help be your partner with your financial matters relative to the issuance of debt. And as Sue indicated, at the end of this year, I will be retiring. And I just wanted to take this time to thank not only this board, this administration, but the prior boards and administration that also had that trust and that great partnership. Just a word about Sue real quick. She and I, for the last 15 or so years, have had great conversation, and she's been very generous with her time and in sharing the direction that the district wanted to go so that your passions could be properly funded. And indeed, it's been my privilege and more so my pleasure to serve the Naperville Park District. So let us roll up our sleeves here a little bit. We're going to go through this pretty quickly because largely it's a takeaway. Leslie, you'll recall when you came on the board, we did an introduction to finance for the new commissioners. And so we felt that that was something that we wanted to continue. We further developed. And this is the result of that. So a little bit quick, we'll go through it promptly. And again, it's a takeaway for you. So when we take a look at your ability to fund capital projects, and I looked with keen interest tonight when you were talking about how much money is generated here at Naperville Park District and what it's used for. And $14.5 million each year goes for capital. That's not generated from bonds. That's generated a lot from other sources. And up here, we do indicate what sources that you do use to fund your capital projects. The section down below is related to debt, and that's what my specific concentration has been on. But we have really used the collective nature of both your operating side as well as your bond side when considering how much to issue and when to issue. And so what can we do with those monies? Well, we've done an awful lot here, especially. I think one of the biggest things that we did back in 2007 and 8 was to acquire the Nike property and then to develop that. That was a real sea change in terms of the path that put Naperville Park District on. But there's an awful lot of capital projects that can be funded with the proceeds from debt, and you have availed yourself of quite a few of those. The next slide is really for those of you interested in math. The district has the ability as a unit of government to issue debt having a tax-exempt nature. You are indifferent as to tax exemption because you don't pay taxes here. However, the individuals and the companies that buy your debt do look for that tax advantaged. And so this is just the math that goes behind your ability to issue debt on a tax-exempt basis, which does lower your cost of capital. Less interest means more capital, always a good thing. There is a process that is used when the district does issue debt. I can think of many times where we sat with the Finance Committee and then brought that recommendation to the full board. We may have been sent back, and then we came back at another time. But the nice thing about that is that this process works, and it is a vetted process with the Board of Park Commissioners before debt is issued. It's done with staff, it's done with the board, and ultimately the project is funded sometimes with bonds, sometimes with cash, sometimes with a combination of both. But there is a process that's engaged when you do issue debt. Several kinds of debt. The top one you've not used, referendum bonds. The second one you've used quite a bit, non-referendum bonds, or what we call limited park general obligation bonds. I won't necessarily go through how that's all done, but that is a line item that is subject to tax caps. And so we have to be observant when we do that. We just can't issue debt based on your authority and your desire to issue. We have certain processes that we have to abide by, including a lot of examinations relative to PTEL. The next slide talks about operating debt. The first slide was levied debt. The second slide is operating debt. You have no alternate revenue bonds, but you do have debt certificates, and that most recently was issued in 2014. Debt certificates are paid for from your operating levies, most notably your capital project fund. The debt service extension base applies to your non-referendum bonds, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. And then, of course, the tax rate was referred to multiple times tonight, and that relates to how many cents per $100 of valuation is taxed for property. This is just a grid that talks about each one of the types of debt that's available to the district, the repayment source, whether or not there is a referendum that's required, the maximum term, and then other notes related to that. Again, you've really used the second and the fourth lines, respectively. When you do issue debt, we have to make an examination to see whether or not you've got the debt limit authority. I believe Naperville Park District is the second largest park district in the state relative for EAV. Second or third, awfully big, $8.5 billion is your most recent equalized assessed valuation. And so you can see that the non-referendum debt numbers allow you to, after subtracting your current amount that's outstanding, still be able to issue $30.2 million if you so chose. And then from a referendum standpoint, of course, much larger value, almost $250 million. So very, very large numbers there kind of unimportant since you're not doing it, but it does speak to the fact that you do have that power. When you issue debt, you determine what pathway you want to go on. Oftentimes, we use public sales. That utilizes your AAA bond rating. Sometimes we use private placements. It's really math equation. What's the most efficient route? Back in 2008, we actually did what's called a forward settle, where the district priced bonds in April and then sold them and closed on them in October, retaining that rate. So that was a private placement, somewhat unique, but you have those two routes to take whenever you do choose to issue debt. I think we can't celebrate it enough, to be candid with you. And thank you again for making this, your story, a very easy story to tell before Moody's. Because back in 2008, you did achieve the AAA rating. Notice that second bullet point. 15 agencies across the entire United States are rated AAA that are park districts, and you're one of them. So that is something that should be celebrated with regularity. Take a look, by the way, at how high that investment grade category goes and where you sit within that. So again, congratulations on that. How have what's happened in the last 20 years since I've worked with you? Well, we've partnered on an awful lot of opportunities. $96 million, $95 million, a little bit over that amount, has been issued, with $70 million of that being brand new money and the other being refundings. Those refundings were done for debt service savings. And so you can see the purpose of the issues, talk a lot about all of the things that have gone on within the district. And again, AAA rated beginning in 2008. The borrowing examples, there are an awful lot of ways that you can borrow and a lot of structures that you can design. We just show two here just to show you the typical that's been done for entities like Naperville Park District, who have a wide open debt landscape. You can organize your debt almost as you see fit. And so this might be, again, we wrote this for many park districts. This might not necessarily be as applicable for Naperville. But again, it does describe to you the typical ways that bonds are organized. Here is your debt, and this is debt as of today. So we are in levy year 2022 right now. Just as a reminder, with my work, anything that's in bold is actual and known. Anything that is not in bold and is in italicized is a guess. Well, a lot of guesses on this page, and it's all related to where your debt service extension base goes. Why is that? Well, because we don't know what CPI is going to be in the future, and that's the driver. But what you can see is that if you extend over and you take a look at levy year 2023, as Sue mentioned earlier, the district does have the ability to issue non-referendum bonds that could be levied to the extent of just over $200,000. At this point, the administration's not bringing that forward to the district, and so that essentially will be permanently lost. So you won't be able to levy for that even as a catch-up. You'll have the next opportunity to consider what you would like to do next year, for example. And you can see in that estimated DSEB remaining column, which is 2 over from the right, the numbers get awfully large, beginning with levy year 2027 and then extending out thereafter. And so the district has quite a large sum of money available to it from a non-referendum standpoint to fund capital projects in the future. Very bright and certainly supportive of your AAA standing right now. This is graphically what that might represent. And again, that dashed line is a guess as to where your debt service extension base might go. All of that headroom between the blue bars and the dashed line represents opportunity to populate that with new debt if you so choose. And then finally, on the operating side, a very modest amount of debt certificates remain. These were debt certificates that were issued in 2014. You'll make a big payment here in just about 15 days of $485,000, and then the interest thereon for that particular payment. And then you'll just have about $1.6 million to go. And then all of that operating debt will be off your books. And that will then provide some budget freedom when those debts are paid. So again, pretty quick process through this. I'd be happy to take any of the questions from the board at this point. Or again, thank you for your support and your partnership for the last 20 years.
I just want to say real quick, thank you, because you've always made it very easy to understand things. As someone who came in, had no idea how this all works. So thank you for everything you've done for the Park District, and best of luck to you in your retirement.
I actually do have one question. I think it's probably a dumb question, but as we're projecting out beyond next year projected CPI was 3% in the chart, and then you project 1.5%, which is 0.5% lower than Fed target 2%. Is that just a conservative estimate?
It's a conservative estimate. It is a living document. In fact, if you were to take a look and you would say 3%, gosh, that's even a little lower than we are right now at 3.7% through the month of September. Yeah, we do like to inject conservatism into our projections so that we're not too far out on our skis at counting on CPI to be higher in order to pay that bond debt.
Makes sense. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much, Eric, and thank you, and good luck in retirement.
Yep.
Or
And
enjoy.
if I could indulge me, I would just like to
Absolutely.
say a few words about Eric. He is special in the industry that we all work in. I've worked at other places. I've had different advisors. We do bond work together. Those advisors are not giving presentations like this. They're not sitting in when we have discussions on public-private partnerships or land acquisitions. Eric has really been instrumental. He's a part of our team. And look at my notes for a little bit. It has been over 20 years that he has advised this district. And based on what the board's priorities were, really helped us shape the availability of when we issue debt. I mean, it's really key that with his input, his expertise, that I've learned so much from Eric. He says we worked well together. He passed on a lot of his knowledge to all of us so you could make educated decisions, and boards in the past. And he's going to be really hard to replace. So I'm just would like to thank you. And it's been such a pleasure working with you. And I will say the AAA rating was before my time, but with Eric's guidance, he really worked with staff and the board at that time to make it happen. Our rating calls with Moody's, Eric is a part of it. He's been such a support for the district. And I know he's going to love his retirement, and we're all excited that he's on this new journey, but we will definitely miss him, and there's going to be big shoes to fill moving forward.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. Sue.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays to you all.
Thank you. You too.
Drop the mic.
All right. And our last item in new business is independent contractor agreements over $30,000.
Provide program instruction for the district. Occasionally, these contractors have higher participation levels, which generally could generate payments that exceed $30,000, requiring board approval. In December, I will bring 4 of these agreements to you for consideration. These agreements include All-Star Sports, Kids First for our youth sports instruction, Illinois Shotokan Karate Club for our martial arts, and Naperville Aquatics for our indoor swim lesson instruction. Any questions?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Our next regular meeting of the Park Board of Commissioners will be December 14th at 7 PM here at Fort Hill Activity Center. We have executive session tonight.
Move to adjourn to executive session to discuss land acquisition per Section 2C5, semi-annual review of executive session minutes per Section 2C11, and personnel per Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Ruffing?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier?
Yes.
Commissioner Jacks?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Rizval?
Yes.
President Gibson?
Yes. All right. Thank